Hi class, so with this video I would like to walk through a problem in your homework just to make sure you have an understanding of what percentile is. So a percentile simply is a point where we're saying, at this point, if you're in the 75th percentile, that means that 75% of our data is to the left or below that point, right? So for example, if you have young kids or know someone who does, if you take them to a pediatrician, typically the doctor will tell you like their height, weight, and their head circumference and their percentile. So let's say my son Bruce went to the doctor and he got 90th percentile in height, right? That means for his age, right, all the kids in his age group, that 90% of kids are less than him, right? So that means only 10% are taller than him, right? So we have to keep that in mind when working through this problem. So for number A, it says for males 40 to 49 years old, what height is in the 95th percentile, right? So we need to click this icon and pull up the table, right? And I'm gonna make notes off to the side, right, so we can make sense of it. So we're looking at 40 to 49, right? So you have to find that row, and we want to look for what is the height of the 95th percentile, right? So we can just follow that over. So 40 to 49, right? And see where that matches up for 95th percentile. And that's what, 74.0, right? So we can just type that in here. Right? So then part B says find the percent, 5% of all men 20 years and older are above what weight? So we're dealing with the age group 20 years and over. So this one, the top row. So 5% of all men are above what weight, right? So here's like my normal curve, right? And if this is the 95th percentile, right? Remember that means that all this is 95% of my data, right? So if we want to find where 5% of all men are above what weight, we're looking for this portion, right? 5%. So we need to find this cutoff. So that would be the 95th percentile. So that would be 74.3. Right? So then part C says, what percent of men 80 years and older are between 62.7 inches and 65.5 inches, right? So let me draw another normal curve. So we're dealing with the age group 80 years and older, right? So that's key when we're looking through this table. I know some students have made mistakes looking at the wrong row, right? So that's where I would always start. And then we want to know the percentage in between 62.7, right? So if here's 62.7 inches and here is 65.5 inches. Oops, 65.5. So these are like my x value, right? I can come down here if you'd like with another axis for my percentiles. So right in the middle will be the 50th percentile if it's normally distributed, right? So we need to find these heights. So 62.7 you can see here matches up with the 5th percentile, right? So this is the 5th percentile. And 65.5 matches up with the 25th. So this is 25th. Right? And notice this isn't in perspective, right? Because 25th shouldn't be to the right of the middle, the 50%. But I'm just drawing a picture just to help me make sense of what's going on, right? It doesn't have to be accurate as long as you understand what we're doing, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that so that way it doesn't confuse you, right? So basically I'm just thinking like, I'm just drawing this to keep in my mind, oh, I'm thinking of like a curve, right? And we're trying to find the area underneath the curve. So if I know that 62.7 matches up with the 5th percentile and 65.5 matches up with the 25th percentile, then if we want to know, what percent's in between, right, in between here, that would be the difference, right? So that would be 20%. So then lastly, it asks us what percent of all men 20 years and older are under 73.2 inches. Right, so we want 20 years and over, so the top row, and we're looking for the number 63.2. Right, so again, I'm just going to draw a curve just to keep my mind thinking. I'm thinking percent under the curve, right? So if we find 73.2 inches, this matches up with the 90th percentile. So the question asks, what percent of men are under 73.2 inches, right? So the percent that are under would be 90%, right? Right, not bad, right? And if you wanted to figure out, like what if D said what percentage of all men 20 years and older are over 73.2 inches? So if it's over, it would be 10%, right? Because there's 10% this way. Because remember, underneath the whole curve is 100%, right? So we just have to draw if you draw like a picture, it'll help you think about that through. Think that through. All right. All right. So that's all I have for percentiles.